What's your favorite peanut butter chocolate treat? Easy call, right? Well, it might be more of a dilemma after you try the new Reese's Chocolate Lava Big Cup. It's a delicious twist on that favorite treat. The Reese's Chocolate Lava Big Cup is the perfect combination of creamy milk chocolate, delicious peanut butter, and an ooey gooey chocolatey filling. It's a completely new kind of Reese's peanut butter perfection. Shop Reese's Chocolate Lava Big Cup now at a store near you. Found wherever candy is sold.
Looking for excitement? Chumba Casino is here. Play anytime, play anywhere. Play on the train, play at the store, play at home, play when you're bored. Play today for your chance to win and get daily bonuses when you log in. So what are you waiting for? Don't delay. Chumba Casino is free to play.
Experience social gameplay like never before. Go to Chumba Casino right now to play hundreds of games, including online slots, bingo, Slingo, and more. Live the Chumba life at ChumbaCasino.com. VGW Group. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
This is The Wheel Weaves Watches, a spoiler-free breakdown podcast of The Wheel of Time on Amazon Prime. I'm your host, Dani, and I'm joined by my co-host, Brett, and we're here to bring you an in-depth look into the Wheel of Time show. We'll share reactions, episode breakdowns, and relevant background information without spoiling future content from the book series. So let's get watching. We'd like to acknowledge and thank our executive producers, Brandy and Kirkwood, Sean McGuire, LightBlindedFool, Green Man, Deyvis, Ferreira, Margaret, Big C, Bennett, Williamson, Hannah Green, Noralia, Geof, Searles, Erik Reed, Greysin, Ishara, Ashlee Bradley, Laura Lewis, Helena Jacobsen, and Matthew Mendoza. Today we're talking about episode 1 of season 2 of The Wheel of Time.
Yeah, so episode 1 is called A Taste of Solitude.
Yeah, absolutely. And here we are doing the breakdown.
I really have to hand it to us. We did it.
We are so predictable.
Yeah, I know. Wait as long as possible.
So we are doing a rewatch series of season 2 right before season 3 is coming out.
Yup.
Season 3 has been announced. We have a teaser trailer already released.
We have a release date. It's coming up very fast.
It's coming up. So we're currently January of 2025.
End of January.
Yep. And this episode first aired September 1st, 2023.
Oh my goodness, that's crazy.
So about a year and a half.
Yeah. And we just re-listened because initially, right after the episode came out, a year and a half ago, we did a very brief 20-minute
reaction.
Yeah,
post-watch.
Just like get some thoughts out.
Yep.
And we just listened back to that,
and
I'm surprised how many things I still think
exactly the same,
but also some things that are like slightly different.
I was like, let's listen to this so that we're not saying the exact same things we
some
said
of it's
a year and a half
the
ago.
Same. Yeah, we'll just drag it out a little bit longer now, so more detail, right?
Sure. And the people, they've just been every day, probably like 1 million emails, 50 emails, so many DMs. When are you guys going to break down season 2?
Okay, that never happened, right?
We're waiting and waiting and
Nobody
waiting.
said that.
And people kept asking for it.
Okay.
Nobody.
Which is why we waited a year and a half.
Nobody asked.
Okay.
But we're doing it anyway.
Okay. Well, hopefully...
One person might have asked like closer to, but...
Yeah, like a year and, 4 months ago.
And they were like, are you guys ever going to do that? And we're like, uh-huh.
Here we are.
Okay. Here we are. So we are not talking about the book series.
That's correct.
We're talking about the show.
Yeah.
And we might be given some context to some things happening in the show, some relevant background information, but we're not spoiling book.
Yeah, no book spoilers,
points.
No season spoilers. We're just really focusing on this episode and what has come before.
Right, which is fun for me because it's not what I usually do.
Yeah, definitely.
Because not only now have we watched, obviously, all of season 2, but we're so much farther in the books than we were when this even came out.
Yeah, not done, but getting close.
Yes,
closer.
Yeah, we're getting closer. And so I'm a first-time reader, typically,
Mm-hmm.
and our podcast about the books is I don't ever have to worry about spoiling anything or saying anything.
Yeah.
Everything I say, everything I think just comes out of my mouth.
Right, now you have to do a little bit of like, pump the brakes a little bit.
I don't really know how good my filter is. So
yeah, and even though I've read the series, all that stuff, I don't know exactly the direction we're going in the show, and it's going to be different than the book, so I'm not too worried about that.
Yeah.
But I am here for it. Yeah, I love this episode. I love the rewatch for us because we just rewatched it too.
I'm excited to fill in the gaps of information for anyone who might be a little bit confused about what's happening. Yeah, I'm here. Let's go.
Okay, So I figured that for this episode breakdown, we're not going to go sequentially through, like scene by scene through the episode.
Okay, what are we doing?
What we're going to do is focus on the main people, the main...
So the whole arc of like one or two characters.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
exactly. And we'll break down all the characters, and we'll talk about stuff. We'll probably go a little bit tangent-y at some points, but we'll try and keep it
What? Us?
relatively tight.
Never.
We'll get it.
Yeah.
Now, I know I just said we're not going to start off sequentially. We're going to talk about characters.
Can we talk about the recap from season 1 at the top of...
Oh, I wasn't even going to do that. I was just going to start with the opening scene, but that's fine.
Oh, I liked the recap.
Okay, well, go ahead then.
I thought it gave me a lot of good stuff.
Go on.
Okay, so some important plot points from the recap from
Okay.
season 1.
Oh, yeah, okay, the voiceover. Yeah, okay. I know what you're talking about now. Yeah.
Yeah, what did you think?
I don't know, but I forgot that they did the little thing that...
They did a recap.
Right.
Okay, so we get reminded, as is tradition in any Wheel of Time book, you get a whole section of recap before you get into the story.
Typically about the first half of the book.
No,
is
not
just
that
recap.
bad. Not that bad, but sometimes it's like, yep,
I do know that.
I do get it. Okay, so we have the concept of a Dark One that exists, and not only does it exist, but now the Dark One is waking up or something, and it's becoming a problem.
Yeah, hence all the monsters.
Right. We get a reminder that the Aes Sedai bond with a warder exists.
Yeah, so we got Moraine and Lan.
Right. We have a reminder about the one power corruption of the male half.
Yes, so the men go crazy.
Oh, they make it dirty.
It's not good.
So
yeah.
dirty.
Yeah.
Okay. We get information about the dagger and how it corrupted Matt.
The Shatter Logoth dagger.
That's right.
That he took, yeah.
The ruby hilted dagger.
And then it's gone.
And then it's gone. We don't know where it is.
Yeah.
We have Perrin with golden eyes.
Right. And white cloak issues with the Children of the Light.
Sure, yeah. We have Egwene and the wind, and it's her who controls the wind, and so that's very like, ooh, you can probably
Nynaeve
do
and
the
Egwene,
magic.
the two from the two rivers.
And we get that Nynaeve is so powerful.
Yeah, Egwene's like up here, but Nynaeve's way even further than that.
We get a reminder that Matt left the group.
Right.
Uncharacteristically.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
We also get that the last battle is coming, which is probably because the Dark One is
And when you say the
awakening.
last, that's capitalized. Like capital L, capital B.
last
The last battle
battle.
is coming.
Right. Pat and Fane stole the Horn of Valier.
Right, and is definitely evil.
Yeah.
Not just a traitor peddler.
Oh, yeah, that's an evil dude. Rand is the Dragon Reborn.
Mm-hmm,
That was confirmation from season 1.
Yeah.
We get that Rand leaves the group, wants everyone to think he's dead. Moraine can't channel at the end of it, and the Quendiar Heartstone is broken, even though it definitely should never have broken.
Yeah.
How's that? How's that for your recap?
That was a pretty good recap.
Okay, thanks. Shall we?
Yes, let's get into it. And we can do background stuff as we go if we need to.
Okay.
So,
are you going to get into the Dark Friend Social?
I want to talk about the Dark Friend Social.
Okay.
First of all, the reason I want to talk about it is because we listened back to our reaction right after we watched the episode.
Yes.
And I said we had the social. It was a meeting. It was a gathering.
It's a gathering of Dark Friends, of evil people who follow the shadow.
Yeah, and we've got a Shamael who has that fun little conversation with the little girl and the Trollocs. And in the reaction, I said I thought that he was going to feed the girl to the Trollocs.
Which
because
is outrageous that you said that.
It's not outrageous. He was having a whole discussion and conversation about, like, how do you know what's actually evil? They look evil. Do I look evil? No. But what would an evil person do?
You thought in the first 3 minutes of the episode they were just going to murder a girl?
Yeah, I thought that.
Wow.
And I just want you to know.
Did you think that again?
I've rewatched this season several times now, and I know that's not how a TV show works, but every time I watch it, I keep thinking, oh no, he's going to feed this little girl to the Trollocs.
Really?
Yeah,
Never
every time.
once did I think
And
that.
I know TV shows don't change like that.
No, they don't.
But one time I might be right, and he's going to feed that girl to the Trollocs.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's such a good scene. I love the tension of, like, I am actually afraid for her, and now I'm afraid for her because it seems like he's teaching her the ways of evil.
Yeah, well, it's so
with
weird.
The Trollocs.
Okay, so
it's a lot.
What I can appreciate about this scene is it is an ode to the books.
Yeah.
Because book 2 does start with a gathering of Dark Friends.
Yeah, a little bit different context.
I'm going to call it the Dark Friend Social.
Yeah.
So I wanted to see more of the evil people talking about evil things.
Sure, yeah.
And
More social.
Yeah, and I can tell that I'm much more sassy than I was a year and a half ago.
Oh, really?
Because my notes say, what is this? Bring your child to work day? What? Did the babysitter bail last minute?
And like, maybe, I don't know.
I'm like, why? Why is this girl even here? Like, I share the same sentiment that I felt a year and a half ago, where I was like, what is this dumb girl doing?
Yeah.
Why is she here? I'm so annoyed.
Okay.
I want to see, and then we get a little glimpse of Pat and Fane.
Yeah, I actually have a couple of notes here on what we see. So we definitely see Pat and Fane.
Yep.
That's a long shot on him, but he's at the social.
And you know what we hear in the background when we see Pat and Fane?
The whistling?
The whistling.
Whistling,
Did you note that? Because I did.
Didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I did note the images that we see on some of these people, like some identifiers.
Okay, so that's sort of the point of this girl.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it a little bit
Yeah.
to the cinematographic nature.
Exactly. How do we get the camera under the table to see this stuff?
But we don't want to see anyone's faces.
Yeah, this is how.
So the girl's under the table hiding because she's kind of scared because some evil people brought their child here.
You're really hung up on that part.
It
We
just
just gotta move past
just
that.
feels wild.
There's
Anyway.
other things to discuss right now.
Okay.
So we got a person with super long nails, and we'll leave it at that for now. We've got a Shinar symbol on one of those like skirt things, whatever.
Mm-hmm. And Shinar symbol is representative of the people who were fighting
Yeah.
at Faldara
Yes.
in season 1.
Yes.
So that's important to know, where there was a big Trolloc attack.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. And we've got some Aes Sedai rings, but it was like black.
Ooh, yeah.
Right? So evil, probably.
Right. So just a reminder, the Aes Sedai ring, there's lots of different types of Aes Sedai.
Yeah,
and
like
their
colors
rings,
of different
they have
factions.
different colors, but
Yeah.
they have black
Yeah.
rings.
That can't be a permanent thing, though, because like you can't walk around with the black ring.
Exactly. No.
Yeah. That's the one you switch out for these meetings.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. And then Pan Fane.
And then as they're walking away, he turns.
Yeah.
And then we see Pat and Fane's face,
Exactly.
but we see no one else's face, so we don't get any reveals of any characters that we might know who are potentially masquerading as evil.
Yeah. So one thing I do want to say about this scene too.
Wait, no, they are evil and they're masquerading as good.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. One thing I want to say about this: the timing on the meeting doesn't seem very clear on exactly when this is happening.
Yeah.
In relation to other events, like I don't actually know for sure that this is after the events of season 1. Like I'm not totally positive about that
Which
yet.
is also super reminiscent of a prologue of these books.
Exactly. Yeah, you're not really time bound on what's happening
You
here.
absolutely are not.
I will note, though, that the voiceover is Ishamael talking. He says that Rand is the Dragon Reborn, but he isn't there yet quite. So, like, he is, but he's not that guy. He's not the Dragon Reborn yet, but he is the Dragon Reborn, you know?
Sure,
like,
whatever.
he's not met his full potential, is basically what he's saying.
Yeah.
So, again, doesn't really answer the question of when this is taking place yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But, like I said, really like the opening, and then we can move into the characters.
Sure. I also wanted to note that Ishamael says something about me and the other chosen.
Yeah. The other Forsaken, yeah.
The other Forsaken,
Yep.
which is interesting because at this point, we think he's the Dark One. And then we're like, oh, no, wait. It's just his super lieutenant who's...
Yeah. And when you say we, it's definitely at least Rand.
And Moraine.
And Moraine. We're not exactly
But Rand
clear.
thought it was the Dark One, and it sort of led us to believe that he's the Dark One, and then it's like, no,
Yeah.
he's just a soldier guy.
So it's also concerning, like, if this is taking place after the events of the last episode of season 1, then that means that Rand didn't really finish the job
Absolutely not.
as he maybe thought he did.
I think that's... I felt that was implied.
Okay, yeah. Like, that does make sense.
Yeah.
So, okay, we can come back to that too later on.
So that's like our cold open
Yeah.
of the episode. And we don't have the weaving of the pattern of a tapestry introduction that we got
yeah.
in season 1.
Okay, like the show opening
The
credit
show opening
thing.
credit thing.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I'm
it
sure
was-
there's a title
It
for
was
that.
just a wheel and snake, and that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Get into the action.
No big long thing.
All right, first person people I want to talk about.
Yeah.
Because they
Moraine
took
and
up
Lan.
they took up a lot of this episode, Moraine
Most
and
of it,
Land.
yeah.
Yeah, so we're
going to call them plot point A.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah. They're the main
They're
one
the
here.
A story.
Okay, so last time we left Moraine, like we had said on the recap, she lost her ability to channel. Whatever happened at the end of season 1, and they are really struggling with that.
Yeah, like, can you believe Moraine is doing manual labor.
Oh, I know, hauling water. But she's also more important than the manual labor part. She's boxing Lan out right now. She's not communicating feelings.
Nope.
Lan's not communicating feelings back.
Nope.
They're both doing a bad job communicating.
Right. And it's because they're clearly used to their other way of communicating, which is just feeling each other's feelings and not talking.
Yeah, now there's nothing. And we also know that the Warder Aes Sedai bond is magical in nature. So, like, there's definitely a few levels that are probably happening at this, too. It's not just like they can't necessarily only not feel their feeling. Like, there's got to be...
there's more than that.
There's layers. There's layers to it.
And I also think that it is important to note that in season 1, we had an entire... almost episode dedicated to understanding the significance of the Warder Aes Sedai bond.
Yeah.
And so, with that knowledge in mind,
yes,
now we need to apply that knowledge to this context and realize how challenging this must be.
Yeah, and we get explanation too when we jump into it from Adelius and Varen that Aes Sedai typically will die from this. And also, we know from season 1 that Warders also will die from this. So, like, they're both...
okay, no. What they say is Aes Sedai die from being cut off from the power.
Right, yeah.
And Warders die from their Aes Sedai dying.
Yeah.
So, that's
basically what I said.
Yeah, I know, but the way you said it...
They're both basically going to die from this. Yeah, and but... it's going poorly.
Moiraine's not going to die because she's cut off from Lan. It's not like...
Well, that's rude.
Well, it's not...
It should be.
That's not what they're saying.
Maybe that's why it's going so badly.
Well, clearly.
Okay. Like we said, layers, right?
Yeah, and I don't know if it's just because it's the first scene and they were trying to be somewhat cinematic.
Sure.
And I'm also going to top this comment off by saying I don't know anything about filmmaking or TV making or anything about the entertainment
we have no background.
Industry. Literally zero.
Well, we watch things.
Lots of things.
Yeah.
We watch so many things and also read things.
Sure.
And we
no professional background.
Talk about things.
Okay, say it. What are you going to do? What are you going to do?
Why did this scene go on for so long?
I didn't feel like it was that long.
Oh my gosh, it was so long.
I really didn't feel that.
I didn't feel that the first time we watched it, but this time...
Maybe that's because, like, you knew it was coming.
I was like, ugh, I get it. Okay. And it was like every step along the way.
Yeah.
Like, she's boiling the water because she can't hear.
Well, that's the callback to, like, the previous season when she could just, like, make the water magically hot.
Magically hotter.
Yeah.
And she's bathing alone, whereas before she bathed with Lan.
Right.
And now she's not bathing with him. So, like, I get it. But, like, and she's really sad. And Rosamund Pike is an amazing actress.
It's because you have a cold heart.
That why?
That's why. I've said it before.
Like, get to the action already.
I don't want to see this anymore.
I get it.
I know there's a fight scene at the end of this episode. Yeah. I want to watch that.
Right.
Okay. Now, we also have Moiraine having a visitor. Well, she's apparently had many visitors.
Many mysterious visitors.
Yeah. She likes to have people coming in and telling her stuff.
Right.
Information and such.
And it's intriguing because we don't know how she's getting all these visitors to come to this random secluded country place.
Yeah. And just for the record, the secluded country place is Adelius and Varen's. Technically, it's Varen's. Adelius is... They have a whole little bit about it.
Yeah.
They're sisters. It's a back and forth. They're really funny together.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's a hilarious
really
dynamic.
Nice Varen casting.
Yeah.
And a really interesting character choice.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
now,
like that.
My number one question is, in the world with magic and magical healing, as we've seen, do hangovers have to exist? Like, you can't heal yourself, so, like, maybe Adelia is having a hangover, but, like, Varen won't heal her hangover. Maybe that's, like...
Interesting.
Right? Okay, I just wanted to put that out there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the... What's happening here.
Yeah. These are the really hard-hitting questions.
They're good. It's important to know.
It's excellent.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, back to Bail Daman.
Yeah.
So Bail Daman, he's the captain.
He shows up.
He's the captain of the ship, and he's got, it's such a, again...
He do be a pirate.
He do be a pirate. From Ilion, we find out too. So
Master Doman.
He has Heartstone or Quendiar, which we saw, the unbreakable, supposed to be unbreakable stone that he thinks Aes Sedai are going to be very interested in, especially Moiraine. So he comes all this way to try to haggle with her on a price for this piece of broken Quendiar. And then Moiraine does a fantastic job
Oh, yeah. She's an excellent barter.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and she also tricks him because there's also a poem up for sale that was found. And I think the initial bid was like 55 for the Quendiar and like 5 for the poem. But then she haggles him down to 1 for the poem.
1 for the poem.
And he's like, okay, fine. And then she gives him just 1 coin.
Right.
Oh, man, because she doesn't even care.
And what's interesting about this piece of Quendiar, we're going to compare it to the piece of Quendiar that we saw in the finale of season 1.
Right.
Where whatever they were standing on broke.
Yes.
And there were pieces of it everywhere. And we were like, oh my God, that shouldn't be able to break. And it turns out it did.
Yeah.
And we just set the Dark One's lieutenants free. Like, okay, that's great. Now, what we get here, I assume it's a different set of Quendiar stones that have broken.
Yeah, I would assume that this pirate dude...
And the moon dial.
Yeah, doesn't have the actual Quendiar from the middle of the Blight where they were.
The Eye of the World.
Yeah, the Eye of the World. Like, that probably not from there. Yeah. I would have to assume.
That's what I'm thinking. So then there's another one.
Yeah.
Or another piece of this unbreakable stone that has broken.
Yeah.
Okay.
Problematic. Probably.
Well, especially considering that, like, a dark poem written in blood.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also probably
not great either.
Not a good sign.
Yeah.
But Maureen is interested in what that poem said.
Exactly. And we don't get that revealed here.
And she's like, you know what I don't care
I'm
about?
a little bit upset that we don't get it immediately. But, I mean, you got to make me wait for it, right?
Yeah, no.
Okay. Yeah. But I also like how she gets back.
build the suspense.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. Again, not a movie person of making them anyways.
You're not? Weird.
No. And I like how she says the sea folk might be good at the game because Daman talks about how he's good at dealing with the sea folk and all that. But she's like, I said I invented the game.
Well, and it's just, we're world building a little bit. Because right now, it's actually not clear about whether or not Bail Doman is a sea folk. Or not, you know what I mean?
Sure, yeah, he's not.
He's
just
not.
Again, that's that context adding. It's not that. He's a trader.
He's just a merchant guy.
Yeah. Now, what is very interesting about the scene, too, is like she clearly gyps him out of all the money he thought he was going to make for making this big
trip out here.
Yeah, trip out here. And he actually takes it pretty well-spirited afterwards. He's like, got me. But then he mentions that he's being followed, and he thinks it's from her, from the Aes Sedai, and she's like, no, what they look like.
Clearly fades.
Clearly a fade, yeah. So he describes that, and then she pays him extra to, like, get the heck out of here.
Well, he says he saw a fade in Whitebridge.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Yeah, yeah. Well, he doesn't know it was a fade. He was like a dark rider.
No, he's like a dark rider in Whitebridge, which I like. I like that. Mm-hmm. And I also like that we get the name of his boat.
Yeah, the spray. The spray.
And that's a nod to the books.
Yeah.
That's the same.
His boat was the spray.
It's a riverboat, and it is not going to do very well in the sea.
Yeah.
And Maureen says, I don't care. Keep to the shallows then.
Get out of here now. Yeah. So, great scene anyways. But, like, what's in the poem?
Yeah.
And now we can kind of jump through the episode to the later scenes with Moiraine and Lan, because we do get that evolution. We get the introduction to Adelius and Varen and the home that they're in.
And Thomas the Warder.
I think I forgot him the first time we did that recording too. He's there to give Lan advice.
Sure.
Right? It's like, hey...
Even though it's bad advice.
I know. It doesn't seem like the best.
He's like, have you thought about not caring so much? Have you thought about just leaving?
Yeah, you could just go. Like, she can stay here.
What? No?
That advice is bad. Yeah. We're not sure. But then Lan pushes back finally. He's like, get your own freaking dinner to Moiraine. So he does do that one.
And then so she's like, fine, then I'll leave.
But then it's so funny because, like, he still brings her dinner after.
Well, that's only because he's super soft.
Yeah. Oh, man. Okay. You know, tell everyone Lan's super soft? He's still a warder. His job.
He's such a softie.
He is a softie.
Yeah.
Well, especially for Moiraine. Like, come on.
Yeah.
You gotta be.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I also said the kids couldn't have popsicles if they didn't eat their dinner.
They still had popsicles.
The only thing you can have today is this dinner.
You gotta have the worst popsicles, though. The ones we're trying to get rid of.
The healthy ones.
Yeah, right? That's parenting. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, we get the back and forth. It's pretty good. It's heartfelt. You probably hated it because, cold heart and all that. That's fine.
No. I thought it was interesting. I like the backstory kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And the food looked really good.
It does, yeah.
Like, that food looked like I wanted to eat it. That's what I kept thinking the whole time.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, wow, that looks like it tastes really good.
Even
cold.
I love the outside dining with the big table and
I
the nice
know.
weather and the just sitting and chilling.
And the kind of like open pergola feel.
Yeah, fantastic. I want a countryside mansion. Why can't we have countryside mansion and magic powers? Why can't we have all
why
that?
can't we just have all of it? Gosh.
Okay, all right. Anyways, okay.
So Maureen
takes off
running away from home
at the best time of the day in the nighttime.
In the nighttime, because that's when you're not going to get caught.
Yeah, exactly.
You'll be so far gone.
Yeah.
No one will even know you're gone.
So far. They
That's-
won't even check till morning.
Yeah, that's the point, I think.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also dangerous.
Yeah, as is like
Considering
immediately.
you just found out that fades are like in and around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Maureen leaves, immediately gets attacked by a fade.
Yeah.
Now, I gotta say that she is a badass.
Yes.
Because she manages to stick a fade and kill it, seemingly, with
She-
just a knife.
Really does a great job.
And I'm gonna make...
And I was so impressed because
Yeah.
the whole idea is Aes Sedai are basically useless if they can't channel.
Yeah.
And women in general are useless if they can't channel.
Well, and it's
in
such a good
battle and
parallel
whatever.
because in the next people we're talking about with Nynaeve in the tower,
Yeah.
Nynaeve literally has a scene with Leandrin where she Leandrin criticizes Nynaeve for learning how to use a sword.
Right.
Because she's like, when are you going to ever need to know how to use a stupid sword? But it's like, well, Moraine,
Yeah.
if she doesn't know how to use a knife, she's getting killed immediately.
Exactly.
And she
so,
literally kills a fade with it. So, like, good job,
and
Moraine.
so she's stealthy. She does it. She does a great job. And this attack is kind of interesting because we're like, okay, so Moraine's just going to deal with this on her own.
Yeah.
That doesn't really feel like a proper conclusion to the end of this.
But wait, why is there 10 minutes left in the episode?
Right.
Yeah, it's because it wasn't the end of the scene.
It turns out
Yeah, there's
more
more.
than one.
Yeah.
A whole gaggle.
Yeah, I think that's what you call them.
Whole
A gaggle
gaggle of fades.
Yeah, fades, yeah. They're like, what is that, a geese?
The gaggle of geese. Yeah.
Equally dangerous.
Yeah, a murder.
Right.
Of crows.
Yeah, yeah.
Murder of ravens? No,
It's
murder,
one of those. Murder of crows. Yeah. A conspiracy
Conspiracy of ravens.
Yeah,
That's right. Yeah. No, I love that so
Okay.
much. But yeah, gaggle of fades. So there's a bunch of them.
Yes.
And then we get Lan showing up in time. And I think I mentioned this in the initial
Yeah.
reaction, but I think that Lan should have been able to do better.
See, I'm standing by my original point. But actually, one thing I wanted to call out here is we did mention in the previous reaction episode that Lan may be lacking some warder bond stuff. Like, we don't really know how this is affecting his physicality.
Sure.
Because warders do and are supposed to have, like, increased senses, awareness, abilities.
Yep.
We don't know if that's been cut off, which would make sense for Lan being a little bit off his game. But also, I made a note specifically that while Lan was doing his training regiment, he didn't seem like his heart was in it.
Oh, so the last 5 months has been...
He's been depressy.
and he's not...
He's not at peak physical. He's not at his best right now.
I still think that Lan,
I know you're going to say it.
the world's best warrior,
Yeah.
or something like that.
Someone probably said that at some point.
Oh, I'm sure.
Probably Lan.
I feel like he was done a little dirty.
Okay. So I'm still okay with how it went down. I'm still okay with it because there's enough reasons why it might not have gone well for him.
I know.
He's lacking
Okay,
the bond.
I know.
It's midnight, so you have to assume fades are more deadly at that time.
You're not going to convince me otherwise.
There's multiple fades.
But you know what part I really could have maybe done without? That, like, I understand why they put it in, but I didn't personally love it.
Maureen trying to channel?
Maureen trying to channel.
It was her moment of need.
And-
It's like the moment when she needs
And
the
then
power
we're like,
back.
oh my gosh. Because
Yeah.
as a fan base, we are waiting to see if Moraine is in fact cut off from the power
Yeah.
forever,
Yeah.
or is this just a temporary situation?
Yeah.
We're waiting to find out. We're waiting.
And I'm sure you
then-
hoped it would come back at
and
that
we're
moment.
like, oh my god, it's just gonna come back just like this.
When she needs it the most to
And then
save Lan's life.
They even visually made the weaves around her
Which is
hand.
like, Varen, why would you do it like that?
No, more like show.
Yeah.
Special effects team, rude.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was intentional, I think.
I think so too.
Yeah.
And so we're like, and then no, it's Varen and Nadelius to the rescue.
And
the power.
And Thomas.
Yeah, but Thomas.
He stabs the fade through
Oh,
the
does
heart
he?
with this fire sword.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. What do you mean? It's like,
You know I don't care about battles.
Yeah.
I don't care about fights very much.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that we did see, they used like sound to almost like incapacitate the fade for a moment to like stop it from being effective.
Loud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because they don't have eyes, so, heightened senses otherwise. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Sure.
Makes sense to me.
Anyway,
Cool.
It kind of annoyed me. I really wanted Lan to physically fight and be able... Like, I was thinking that this was a point, because especially when we see Moraine badass without the power doing the good stuff and getting the fade.
Yeah.
I thought this was going to be a moment where it's like, we actually don't need the power as much as we think we do.
Big mistake.
Yeah.
We
huge.
definitely do. We need the power.
Yeah. Turns out. I thought we were going to have like a bit of a moment.
Yeah.
Where the non-channelers win.
Wrong. Non-channelers never win. Yo.
Poor Moraine, though. Like, I thought this was going to be a thing for her,
Yep.
To be like, good, we can do it.
I could do it. Nope.
And that's how we're going to get the Moraine-Lan bond.
Right.
Like, that's how we're going to get them bonding again.
I get where you're going with it.
Didn't happen.
Channelers
to the rescue.
Channelers to the rescue. Thanks, everyone. Okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of channelers, let's move to the next people.
Okay, but first, let's take a quick break.
Sounds good.
And then we'll be right back.
Who doesn't love Reese's Peanut Butter Cups? Answer: nobody. They've been one of the most delicious parts of your life forever. Everybody knows they can't get any better, right? Well, after you try the new Reese's Chocolate Lava Big Cup, a delicious twist on your favorite treat, you might change your mind. The Reese's Chocolate Lava Big Cup is the perfect combination of creamy milk chocolate, delicious peanut butter, and an ooey gooey chocolatey filling. It's a different kind of delicious, The chocolate filling just takes it to a whole extra level. It's a totally, completely new kind of Reese's peanut butter perfection. Lucky you. Lucky everyone. So you really just have to ask yourself how you like your peanut butter cup. The way you've always loved it. Or with a gooey chocolate lava center. Or don't choose and have both. Yeah, that sounds like a plan. Shop Reese's Chocolate Lava Big Cup now at a store near you. Found wherever candy is sold.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Okay, so we're back.
Yeah.
We're going to head into the tower? To the novice
tower.
lesson?
Yeah, Egwene and Nynaeve. Not quite to the novice lesson. Not just yet. First, we got to do the manual labor. It is the thing that builds character the most.
Well, that's kind of the whole idea about being a novice in the White Tower.
Yeah, you got to do chores.
All of the chores.
You got to scrub. You got to take dishes from people. And I got to say...
in their private quarters.
Oh, man, okay.
That's the comic relief of this entire episode.
It is, but like, seriously, Alana, put a sock on your door.
Why, though? Why does she have to do that?
How inappropriate.
Really? Why? You're such a prude.
Yeah, you shouldn't.
You and Egwene.
You shouldn't expose yourself to students in the...
She was hardly exposed.
Just saying, oh, come on.
There's a 4-poster bed with like curtains and stuff.
Yeah,
like,
and they were
us
poking,
as the audience.
They were poking through those curtains.
I would have liked to have seen more than we even saw.
I get it. I get that.
So?
I understand that.
You're such a prude.
Yeah.
Who cares? Whatever. Freely express your sexuality, Alana. Okay, I love it.
Then don't expect your dishes to get cleaned up. That's all I'm saying.
But why not?
Because you can't, that's not a...
Sure you can.
You can't. Okay.
Oh, man.
Anyways.
I didn't know you were so prudish.
And then later on, when Egwene goes back to Helena, like, wow, what kind of conversations are we even talking about here?
I love how free Helena is with her sexuality. Like, she's just...
But again, like, it's the issue is there's a mentor and student, like, teacher and student relationship here.
She is being the mentor. And let's say Helena has mentored people before. Mm-hmm. Maybe this isn't a conversation she hasn't had before.
Maybe
people know how free she is with her sexuality and has, in fact, asked her.
Yeah, okay. I get what you're saying.
And
So,
she's had open and honest conversations because she has no guilt, no shame, no judgment.
as a viewer, fun to watch.
Yeah.
If I was
Comic
Egwene,
relief. It was
I would be
hilarious.
horrified
It was
as Egwene
hilarious
was.
because we have Egwene who was raised in the Two Rivers.
Yeah.
Very, very
Yeah, small town conservative village.
values.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, all that stuff. So
Although we did have a little bit of straying from
yeah.
as conservative of values as I would have believed.
Okay. Like
Because
the Egwene and Rand.
Egwene and Rand
Yeah.
totally doing it before they're married.
Sure, but they're also like promised to each other.
They
from
literally
all,
did
like,
it in the middle of the inn.
Not the middle. It was like in the kitchen on the countertop.
Yeah.
What, right?
Anyone could have walked in.
We all know the cleaning stuff that they used back in the
Yeah,
day.
I feel like
It's fantastic.
Gwen should get it, you know?
Okay. Anyways, there is some good advice that comes out of this that Alen gives Egwene. Don't let, and I'm paraphrasing.
Just relax.
Well, just relax, but also like don't let perfect be the enemy of the good, right? It's that whole mentality of like you're a perfectionist and you're going to ruin everything by trying to get it perfect instead of like going good first and then building up that skill set.
Right, you need a foundation.
Yeah, and we really see that in the training lesson that we're going to jump into here.
Okay, yeah, so after we get a montage of Egwene going through the tower and cleaning up after people.
I gotta say, also,
Little cameo
Liana,
from Liana.
Liana, the most powerful walk down a hallway, put a dish in your slop bucket I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah.
That power walk,
Ooh.
I gotta learn that.
Commands respect.
Commands respect. Wow. Holy moly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
Also, very unsafe. Like, I feel we need netting around the tower. Like,
I know.
those are
Didn't
just
we talk
open.
about that last season?
Yeah, there was a time when
Because isn't it possible that maybe there is
like safety nets
a barrier of air
didn't seem that way.
held in place
By what?
magic?
No.
If you were to fall off, could you just like conjure air to fall
I think you've
onto?
asked this before.
Like it might not be that dangerous for them. Maybe the servants and the warders who can't channel.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yep.
It'd be more dangerous for, perhaps.
For sure. We haven't seen that sort of thing happen before, and no one's ever really talked about it before.
I mean, like, there's all sorts of stuff you can do.
Yeah, but in the
It's
moment,
not out of the realm of possibilities.
right? Yeah. Okay.
Just saying.
We're gonna put a pin in that and say maybe, and then we're just gonna move on to this lesson. So,
Okay.
Nynaeve is really struggling with the one power. I think we get that she's been here approximately 5 months in the tower.
Yes, yeah. And all they've done is wash dishes.
Yeah, and she hasn't really been able to channel.
At all.
Yeah. We've seen her do really powerful things in the past.
And then later we see Sheriam and Leandrin and a bunch of... It's like a weird Aes Sedai meeting where they're all standing very far apart from each other.
Yeah.
It seems odd, but whatever. We don't question their ways, I guess.
Right.
And they're talking about Nynaeve's progress, and we get the word blocked. Is she still blocked? Does she still have a block?
Yeah, she's got a mental block
It's
for
a block,
sure.
so she can't channel. And then we get because she's scared of holding that much power.
Yes. Yeah. Too much power, so she can't get through it right now.
Yeah.
And it's a problem because like you gotta be able to channel.
Got to be able to channel.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Otherwise, can't be an Aes Sedai.
Yeah.
But what I do like about this lesson is the actual special effects of the visual weaves that we can see.
Yes.
And it's interesting because this is a way for the viewer to get introduced to how the one power works.
Yeah.
And
So
how
we got
they channel.
and that was a big topic of conversation in season 1. Like, are we gonna separate? Like, we know that there's the 5 powers
As book readers,
book readers, but like as a show watcher, we didn't know that. So everything kind of looked white with the weaves. But now we're getting the breakdown of the different weaves. We've got the fire, water, earth, air, and then spirit as the 5th power.
Okay.
And I really like the cleaning the water, how we're talking about how to use different weaves and different elements of the power to do certain things. Like there's a lot of finesse to it.
Yeah.
And then we did mention it in the previous episode, but Egwene is trying to do this without her hands.
Without her hands.
And you're 100%, I think 100% accurate with this is because of the White Cloak event
situation
with the chopping off the hands.
So in season 1, we get Eamon Balda, who has Egwene captured, has previously been cutting off the hands of Aes Sedai, and then tells Egwene that they don't need their hands to channel.
Yeah.
But
It's a crutch,
but
and
it's a
that's
crutch they rely
that's
on
how
it.
you learned how to do it. So that's what you do
And
always.
so there's obviously some residual trauma happening for Egwene, where she's like, I'm going to learn how to channel without my hands. Because everybody else in this class around this table is trying to use their hands, and even Alana shows them how to use their hands.
And calls her out, and she's like, use your hands. Like, learn how to do it.
Yeah.
And I understand where Egwene's coming from.
like, no.
Like, I do
I'm going to
get
learn
it.
how to do this like this way so that I don't have to rely on using
They got to put my hands on my hips and then just like stare at stuff and weave. It'd be great.
Yeah.
Look super angry, just like,
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do it right now if you can.
Oh, that's what you're doing?
Yeah.
Kind of look like a chicken.
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. You can imagine it.
Okay, but to wrap up this lesson.
Yeah, we have the stunning conclusion, Nynaeve's stubbornness coming in full force, where Alana says, you can't leave the class till you drink the water, and it's super dirty, and of course Nynaeve has to be like, well, you know what, you never said it had to be clean, and then drinks the dirty water to prove a point, because she can't embrace the source, the power.
She's so stubborn.
Yeah, so stubborn. So stubborn.
Yeah.
But also hilarious.
Yeah, flashbacks to being a teacher.
Yeah,
This is just literally, if anyone's ever wondered what it's like, this is teaching.
There you go.
Yeah.
You're Alana?
I'm Alana.
You're Alana.
All my students are Nynaeve. Yeah.
I love it. Okay.
At least one or two of them
yeah.
are Nynaeve, and you're like, okay.
It's good.
Yeah.
Now, a couple more things with the Nynaeve side of things in the tower. She is training with the warders. We get the whole, you got to figure out your reason you're here. Like, what's your why, if you will.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that because she really does need to figure out what she wants to do
building.
here.
Yep.
She needs to progress. She needs to figure it out.
Yeah.
She left the Two Rivers to save her people.
Well, and it's also just like a super side note explanation of who Alana's warders are.
Right.
And why they were romping in bed together.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we saw that in season 1 too.
I know, but
They've been romping all over the place.
they've been really romping, but now we get recap.
Yeah, for
right?
sure. It's episode 1.
It's episode 1.
Gotta
Don't
do a little
forget. Don't
recap.
forget.
Yeah.
We're episode 1.
Yeah.
Now we get Nynaeve trying to do the weaves by herself in like the middle of the night or something.
Yeah.
And that's when we get Leandrin
coming in to help.
To be like, I know how to teach you. And
I still don't hate what she's doing here.
isn't Leandrin just like a love to hate her character though?
I don't necessarily hate her though. Like, I really get where she's coming from. Leandrin sees
But
Nynaeve as super
everything
powerful.
She does is like
I mean, it's not like
so evil.
It's not.
It's so
it's not the by
questionable.
the book kind of way to do things. But like Nynaeve is not
She's
learning.
just like a.
She's not learning the way the Aes Sedai are teaching, and Leandrin is giving her an alternate method of learning to channel.
Yeah.
I don't see what's wrong with that.
Isn't there a mention of the last novice Leandrin was allowed to teach died?
So what?
That
Novices die sometimes.
That feels bad.
Well, maybe they should have
That
been.
feels terrible.
We don't know the context, or we don't know
I
anything
don't know.
about that.
I love Leandrin is just like such a character.
I'm just saying,
I
Leandrin.
love to hate.
Leandrin got Nynaeve to channel.
Okay.
I didn't see anybody else do that.
Well, out of anger.
Does it matter if we can get past this? Does it matter?
Oh, yeah, and then Leandrin's like, use the anger.
Yeah.
'Kay.
But also, she does snub her with the whole "why would you learn how to use a sword and knife" thing, which is
Yeah.
the callback to the Moraine thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this is where I'm gonna rag on the special effects just a little.
You don't like that air sword?
No.
Well, Leandrin doesn't know how to make an air sword.
No, but
That's-
it also like didn't follow her hand when she turned it properly. Like it bothered me.
Leandrin doesn't make air swords very often. It's her own fault.
And then even when Nynaeve gets her up against the wall, like retaliates back,
Sure.
it looked cheesy.
Yeah.
A little. It looked
All
a
right.
little. It's like super fantasy, right?
I mean, yeah. I just feel like everyone's so spoiled on special effects.
Yes, we are.
Like,
I am.
yeah.
I want everything to look like it's not special effects.
I'm just saying, like, growing up with things like, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe as a
I
cartoon.
didn't grow up with
like,
that.
it's just like, we're going to talk about, like, bad animation and stuff. Like, come on.
It's not animation.
I'm just saying.
No.
The bar for me isn't like this needs to look exactly in my brain how it should.
I know, and some people really love that.
Yeah, not everyone's going to be happy.
Yep.
Good enough.
That's okay.
It's good enough.
I'm just in the camp of people who are sort of like, I like the show. I love the plot. I love everything about it. Meh, special effects.
We need a bigger budget and to pay the VFX people more, probably.
Probably.
Or give them more time to work on it, because I've also heard that's like a big issue.
Oh, is it?
With, like,
I actually
time.
have no idea.
I also have like zero
I'm
information.
ragging on it as a
Yeah.
viewer, and probably there are people who are super skilled and super knowledgeable
Yeah.
who have real reasons why this is excellent.
Yeah.
And
I've heard, and
I
this
believe
is like,
them.
I've heard that a lot of the times production companies, like, they don't give the VFX people like literally enough time to do the work, so they have to like do what they can in the time that's allowed. So
It's hard to say,
busting their butts, I bet.
and we don't know for sure.
I have no idea.
As a viewer, purely,
I'm happy with it.
I know you are.
I know.
I know you love it.
Okay.
Okay, there are some that I really love.
Yeah.
Yes, I didn't.
Okay. So, last little scene we can talk about for Egwene and Nynaeve. It's the together scene. We got to talk about the letter.
Oh, it's
from...
Beltane.
It's Beltane. 1 year has passed.
Okay, so this is where we get a timestamp. It has been 1 year since episode 1 of season 1.
Yeah, because that was Beltane.
Since the show started,
Yeah.
it's been a year.
Right. So that's a significant amount of time for all the characters.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got Nynaeve forgetting that it's Beltane. I feel like that might come back to bite her in the butt at some point, just internally.
Yeah.
Like she's going to hate herself a little bit for forgetting that.
It's like one of those things that you were thinking about up until the day, and then the day happens, and you're like, you didn't see the date.
I hate that so much.
You didn't see the date the whole day, and
Yeah.
then you're like, oh, shit, it was so-and-so's birthday, and I knew it.
I knew it right up until today.
Yeah.
I knew it yesterday.
And yeah.
I thought about remembering it for today.
Exactly.
And then it just
and
didn't
then
happen.
I didn't, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's what it is.
Yep.
Anyways, they get a letter from Perrin because Perrin's been writing notes, and I think it's adorable, and I love it. And one of the big things I want to point out from it is that he says maybe next year the four of us can celebrate. So Loyal, Egwene, Nynaeve, Perrin. I have to assume those are the four.
Mm-hmm.
Because he also says like maybe Matt will join.
Right.
So I don't think he's part of the four. And then they think that Rand is dead.
They think Rand is dead, and it's important to note that in the letter that the girls read is slightly different
than the one that
Leandrin reads later to Matt.
Which we can talk about like immediately next, which is fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty heartfelt. Perrin's pretty sweet. There's kind of a joke because, like, why aren't there more letters written in the books between people? Like, why don't you write your parents more? Because, like, in real, like, wouldn't you?
No.
No. I have to admit, like, I wouldn't.
I wouldn't.
Yeah. Shoot. But I like that Perrin is writing notes to keep them updated on things. It's very sweet to me.
Yeah. I can't hear your responses because this is a letter.
Yeah, and you know what I absolutely
That's from
love?
Wicked. It's from Wicked.
Okay, cool, whatever. You've been on the Wicked train for so long.
I know, gosh.
Okay.
So good.
All right. I really appreciated seeing them all lighting the candles again. That ceremony from season 1 hit me in the feelings.
Aww.
And then it really
did it
just comes,
again?
it did it again. I love it so much. It gives like a lot of heart and a lot of spirit to the scenes.
Yeah.
Because Tam was talking to Rand saying like, no matter where you are, it doesn't matter where you are to light the candle. That's not the important part.
Right.
You don't have to be at your house in like that one bedroom or whatever it is.
Right.
It's wherever you are.
Mm-hmm. To call your loved ones back to you or something like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty sweet.
Yes. And as we're lighting the candle, we get a little bit, I don't know where it is in the episode because we're all
jumping
over the place.
That's fine.
But I'm going to say we get an immediate flash to Rand.
Rand, not dead.
Not dead.
Very much alive.
New haircut.
New haircut. Love it.
Looking older.
Uh-huh.
Looking buff.
A little buffer. A little buff boy.
Looking good. Uh-huh. Hanging his own Beltane.
Yeah.
But we don't know where he is. We don't get any dialogue. We don't
Not
get
dead.
any information. We just get a little snippet.
And I mean, we the viewer, we knew he didn't die because
No,
he
I
literally
know.
told Morin, like, tell them I died.
But now
so I
we
can
know
leave.
it's 5 months later, and we
Yeah.
don't know where he is or what's happened to him.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of like
What a mystery.
A mystery.
It's great. Okay.
Yeah. That's it. That's all we get of around the whole episode.
Oh, I know. It's great.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Okay. I think that was more or less it for Egwene and Nynaeve.
Oh, well, we do get Egwene going and talking to Alana, but we sort of talked about that already.
Yeah.
Just to get some advice.
Yeah.
On weaves and stuff. But
Yeah.
yep.
I'm sure they'll come up again at some point.
Okay.
Okay. Let's do, before we get into the C plot of like Perrin and the Shienarans and Loyal.
Ooh.
Let's do a little segue into Matt.
Yeah.
Since we just talked about the letter.
Yeah, and we're still in the tower.
Yeah.
So it has been 6 months.
Right. For Matt.
For Matt.
Because they spent a month in
Faldara.
Shinar.
So since he left the group, it's been 6 months, and he's like, I haven't touched the dagger.
Mm-hmm.
I'm clearly not channeling. I'm not going crazy. I'm not a bad person.
We're also going to make a quick side note here. I think it's important because if any listeners or watchers of the show were like not keeping up with the show stuff or listen to our previous episodes.
Well, and you could be new to the Watt fandom as of the last couple years.
Yes.
And you probably weren't necessarily aware of the giant Matt scandal.
Yeah.
And you might be thinking to yourself, is that a different actor?
Yes, it is.
It is. It's new Matt.
Yeah. So there was a couple things happening at the time of the filming of season 1, like the little thing, COVID.
Called COVID.
COVID
a
happened.
Global pandemic.
Yeah. And then we
a
had
whole shutdown of the entire industry, which halted filming.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then we had the actor who played Matt just left.
Still unknown.
Still unknown. We still, years later, don't know what actually happened. But right when you're like, hey, why didn't Matt go with them? Because the actor quit.
Yeah. Or was fired.
We don't know.
He left the show.
The actor is no longer in the show.
We don't know under what circumstances.
Yeah. So they had to piece it together.
Yeah. So Matt was written into episodes 7 and 8 of season 1. They stopped filming because of COVID shutdown, episode 6. And when they returned to film episode 7 and 8, the actor didn't return, and so they cut Matt out of the last 2 episodes.
And had to rewrite it. So,
yes.
Yeah. So that's why we have Matt in the tower, new Matt. And we're picking up. And honestly, it works.
It's so
I think they did a
good.
really good job, and I love new Matt. I really liked old Matt, but like new Matt is pretty freaking charismatic too.
Yes. Yeah, I like it. They did a good job.
Yeah. So we've got Matt being kept hostage.
In the tower by
Leandrin.
Mostly because in season 1, Moraine wrote a letter to the White Tower, specifically the Red Aja, saying, find Matt and watch him.
Pick him up. Because the whole dagger thing, like we don't know.
Oh, all the dark energy ideas and stuff.
Yeah, like he wasn't in a good place mentally. And then we've had a bit of a rehab situation. He had 5 months to get it out of his system, I guess. And he spent that time here. He's not a fan of it. And I said it in the reaction, but I'm going to say it again. He is Shawshanking his way out of here. Because you cut a hole in the wall.
Oh, I never saw Shawshank.
Yeah, like literally that's how they escaped. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
The prison. Dig a hole through the wall, put a thing in front of the hole.
Oh, cool.
And escape that way.
No, I get it, yeah.
So that's what he's doing. It looks like he's just starting it now.
Well, it looks like he's been working on it for a little.
Yeah, a little bit. But it's like at some point.
And I think that he's sick of Leandrin's shenanigans.
Right.
Because she's reading this letter, clearly trying to make him upset.
Elle's being a giant bee right now.
He's ignoring her. This is also what it feels like to be a teacher moment.
Yeah.
Although she's being a giant bee. But
she's being a mean girl.
She's been awful. Girl. She's been awful. But to have a student just sitting there just like not listening to anything you're saying.
Yeah.
Pretty good. But she reads the letter, leaves out the portion about hopefully Matt's okay and can find us.
Yeah, yeah. It seems, so we talked about this, it seems like she copied the letter.
Yeah.
So gave the original to Nynaeve Egwene, but then brings this letter in and tells Matt that there's no mention of Matt in this letter. But it's like, well, this is a fake letter. But also, I just like to look at how do Aes Sedai get away with lying?
Yeah.
Of sounding like they're speaking the truth, but not necessarily. Because she says dozens of letters and not a single mention of Matt Cawthon. And it's like technically true, there probably wasn't a single mention. There were probably dozens of mentions of Matt Cawthon. So like technically, if you believe it and the phrasing of it, like you can twist your words to sound one way and still be true.
Right.
So I just like to look at phrasing for things.
Yeah. Okay, I also just want to shout out in our Discord, we have a whole section to chat spoiler-free about this show.
Yeah.
And Jolene Sedai has a little bit of a realization in this episode, or a theory.
Okay.
About this specifically. So when Leandrin reads Perrin's letter to Matt, she skips over the mention of him, but includes the mention of Layla. And the line about how Perrin hopes, quote, the 4 of us can be together next year might have something to do with Matt, Egwene, Layla, and Perrin.
Oh, weird.
And Matt smirks ever so slightly because Leandrin doesn't know Layla's dead, so she thinks she's tricking Matt into thinking they left him out, and the 4 mentioned in the letter being Perrin, Egwene, Nynaeve, and Layla, but Matt knows she's dead and infers that the letter must have mentioned him as the 4th, and he knows from the start that Leandrin is trying to break him.
I love that too.
So that's a theory.
That's way more in depth than I thought about it.
I know. I love it. I love these conversations that happen.
Let's do that one.
And I was like, oh, that's super interesting. Like, nice catch. So, yeah, that's fun too.
Okay, can you copy and cut and paste that into what I had said previously?
Well,
Matt,
I think that he also does mention loyal.
I know. It's like, yeah.
So there is, but there's room for interpretation.
Yes.
Which I love and appreciate.
Yeah, and
I like it.
Leandrin's totally messing with him, so. Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, that's good. So I love seeing Matt here. Great,
and I like how
reintroduction.
he knows she's messing with him.
It's a great reintroduction to Matt. It's fantastic.
Yeah, or he's just like thinking, yeah, I know they hate me.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Yeah.
I'm still getting out of here.
All right.
Yeah.
Last group. We've got Perrin, the Shienarans, Loyal, and the Hunt for the Horn of Valyr.
The Hunt.
I love it.
The Great Hunt, some would call it.
Yeah, well, we get a little tidbit in this episode that there are world events going on right now, including Ilian has called for the Great Hunt for the Horn.
Ooh.
So that's like a thing.
I missed that.
It's an event. It's a very, very small. It's like a couple things happening, but the Hunt for the Horn has been called in Ilian. So it's like a big extravaganza, something going down.
Okay.
But this is the real Hunt for the Horn of Valyr because at the end of last season,
because we know it actually exists.
Fane
we
took
had
it.
And Fane stole it.
Fane stole it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was the reveal that he's a really, really bad guy.
Yeah, and that's
in case you were unsure, Paddy Fane's a bad guy.
You could say he's a bad guy.
Yeah.
So that was a 5-month time gap. Perrin has been with these guys for 5 months, so that's important to understand.
Yeah.
Like, we're probably going to get a level up in Perrin's abilities of, like, fighting, I would have to assume.
Okay.
Because if you're traveling with, like, trained soldiers...
You're probably fighting with them.
You're probably
training,
fighting and learning. Like, it's good to know, like, how our characters are having this time to level up their abilities. So we can go from, like, villagers to not totally
inept.
And just
absolutely.
villagers.
And then we also have Loyal, who's there with them too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. And Uno.
It's fantastic.
So good.
Yeah.
And it was really fun too because we actually got to sit on a panel at JordanCon last April and talk about episodes 1 and 2 of the show with the actor who plays Uno.
And we got to spend a little time outside the panel with him too, which is very cool.
But it was cool to do a panel about this episode with the actor who plays Uno.
Yes.
And we got to ask him about the horses and about the eye patch and about all sorts of things. So, like, it was really cool. It was really interesting.
Yeah, very neat stuff.
And to get his perspective on it.
Yeah, because he's a book fan. He's a huge book fan too.
Yeah. So it's good. It was fun.
Okay.
That was fun. Just side note. It's almost like a little like, we did a thing.
Oh, that's great.
Have we name dropped?
All right, so back to it.
Yeah.
So we've got them on this hunt. They're tracking Fane across the world, it seems. And we get the introduction of Elias as the tracker sniffer. The guy who clearly is similar to Perrin.
Because of the eyes. And that's the recap of the golden eyes.
Yes.
Coming back to be like, is that the same as Perrin? Yes.
I love this introduction for Elias.
It's definitely implied that Perrin and him sort of do like a, what?
Well, Elias immediately looks at him, and I think Elias 100% knows immediately.
Well, and Perrin looks at him and is like, oh my god,
What's
has
happening?
Golden eyes, and he's so weird.
Yeah.
That guy's a weirdo.
Yeah. Like, what stage? Are we in denial stage still with Perrin and his abilities? Like,
and so
not sure.
His whole idea at this point, his whole thought process is he doesn't know what he's doing. He's not embracing anything that we know of.
Yeah.
And then we also know that Elias, as this character, is someone who's helping them
like track down.
And quote sniff out the Dark Friends.
I really like this introduction, but I also really like how they've done the visuals of like Perrin seeing things.
Yes.
Like, I think it's
it's not a voiceover of the wolves. It's just like, okay, we're seeing things, which I did have a question about when we first saw it, and I still have a question because seeing visions of the past isn't necessarily a wolf ability.
Sure.
But for the show, I guess we're going with...
Okay, so visions of the past, it could also be, like, just to give you maybe some, like, ideas on why this might be happening, it could be that this was something a wolf that was nearby observed, and if they're showing this is what I saw, this is what had happened was.
Right, yeah.
And that's kind of like where we're going. But also, maybe there's some sense of, like, he can smell the sense of a girl running off and gets like
and he's
an
getting
instinct.
Visions of it.
Yeah, and it's like an instinctual, this is what happened.
I can appreciate that a little more than he can just like see events of the past.
Yeah, instead of like Perrin being like, it smells like a person ran off into the woods this way. Like, we get like this feeling.
Can I say why
Sure.
it feels as though he's getting visions of the past? Because the last time we saw someone having any kind of visions was Min, and we know that she has visions of the future.
Yeah.
And doesn't talk to wolves that we know of.
Right.
So to see something similar, my brain wants to make the connection.
Oh, maybe they are a little bit similar. Who knows? Who's to say?
Anyway, that's just like my thought process.
Yeah.
But it's clearly a
Now we've
golden
got
eyes thing.
Yeah, it definitely is. So we've got Perrin struggling with the whole good versus evil thing. And the whole rage and grief thing.
Yep.
He's got a lot of internal struggles, and he's trying to get advice from... We've got Ingtar, who is leading the Shienarans. He's like the guy in charge there. Uno, although cool, he's not the leader.
Yeah.
And then we've got a couple... Massima, he's the bare-armed guy.
They're all bare-armed, aren't they?
Yeah. The very good-looking one. Like, he's like...
Too good-looking.
The too good-looking.
Yeah.
You're like, what are you doing, Shienaran?
Yeah.
That guy. Okay.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Anyways, they come up with the tracking, and they finally find the Shienarans who seem like traitors. It seems like that. And I love the conversation because
How
Perrin
did they die? Do you know? Do you have that?
It looks like they were maybe killed
Okay.
by the Trollocs.
Ooh, okay.
Like, I'm not 100% sure. Like, I don't necessarily want to say
I don't know
definitely.
either. I just didn't know if you saw something I didn't or picked something up that I didn't.
But it seems like it's like, okay, so what we're supposed to believe is that these guys were traitors to the Light and Shienar because they were in Faldara.
This is the guy who let the Trollocs in.
They let the Trollocs fades, whatever. They let, or like gave intel up, and then they scampered away with the Trollocs. And then at some point, the Trollocs were like, let's just kill them or whatever because they're just two dudes.
Sure.
So we don't need them anymore. Loose ends, whatever. So these guys who were presumably traitors are now dead.
Potentially Pat and Fane.
Like we don't know what happened.
Don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
I really like the contrast of Perrin saying like, screw these guys, they're traitors, and then Ingtar saying, well, you might not like why they did it, but they might have had a reason, and we don't know the full story, so we're going to give them a proper burial because we don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know enough. And it's like, that's a good message.
I also think that it might be a bit of a callback for Perrin and a recap on his stance and his worldview, because he was really struggling with that in season 1 with the Tinkers.
Yeah.
Because they are very passive, and he hated that. He
they're
couldn't
100%
understand
nonviolent.
it.
Yeah.
And so this whole idea that we're going to forgive people for being bad is out of Perrin's way of
really
thinking.
messing with his like black and white worldview.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's like, what do you mean we're going to give them a burial like everyone else?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, Perrin is not ready to forgive and, forget yet. So
and
that's fine.
Also just another callback to season 1, we're doing a burial in a circle.
Yeah. Seems to be the way to do it. That's the best way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Side note, Loyal's here. He's alive.
Yeah.
With no mention of how he survived a stabbing.
No, I think I got it right too. In the recap, or no, in the reaction, I answered that question for you, and I'm sticking with that explanation.
What is it? What'd you say?
Big dude, little knife. He's fine.
Yeah, but wasn't it a cursed dagger he was stabbed
We don't
with?
know what cursedness
we have no
it
idea.
is. We don't know.
We have no idea. And a year and a half later, I'm still angry and upset that we don't even get a single mention or a single anything. And I think I said this before, but where Loyal is like, oh yeah, and by the way, I got healed.
Oh, my side still hurts a little from where I was stabbed.
But now I'm alive because of this.
You
how
want that.
easy is that to
You
write
want
in?
that
I
sentence.
just did it.
You should be a writer for a TV
I'm so
show.
good at it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, writers should write things.
Sure.
so that I can understand a little bit, because we were like, oh my God, Loyal's dead at the end of season 1.
Yeah, I mean, it did seem that way.
And then he's just here.
We're not going to talk about it.
Yeah, maybe there's like a deleted scene that one day we'll see.
Sure.
That explains it, and then all will be forgiven.
Yeah.
And I will forgive everyone.
Yeah.
Right now, angry.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Alternate theory. Loyal is also a bad guy.
No.
In cahoots with Patton Fane.
No,
who
don't believe
pretended
it.
to stab him.
What?
But in fact did not.
Loyal is much too innocent for that.
No, that's what he wants you to think.
Rude.
Mm-hmm.
Rude.
You don't
Blasphemy.
Even know. You don't even know.
You can't even say that about Loyal. That's the rudest thing anyone's ever said.
I know. I probably really should.
Oh, you're going to piss everyone off.
Maybe, but.
All right. Now, I think we touched on most of the points.
I think so. We probably missed one or two big ones, but that's fine.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
No, I think we missed some small ones, probably.
Yeah. And I think that we can definitely plan in a few more years. Maybe we'll do something like this again for this episode.
For this episode?
Well, for sure. Like a
No.
watch.
We're never doing that. Don't even pretend to promise that. In a few years from now, we're going to be recapping season 3.
In a few years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When season 4 is
hate
coming
that.
out.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
In a few years. Okay.
Yeah. Well...
They really should have just filmed all 8 seasons immediately and then released them all at the same time.
Uh-huh.
I would have appreciated that.
Although you're talking about timeline and budget and things.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
All right. That's it. That's all.
That's it. That's all. Okay, I want to shout out Guy Roberts, who played Uno, who we got to hang out with at JordanCon, and I got to hang out with him at WalkCon. And he has a company in Prague Shakespeare Company, which you can donate to if you'd like to check that out. And I'm excited to go on with our recap. And next up, episode 2.
Yeah, here we go.
Episode 2 of season 2.
Mm-hmm.
And as we say around here, it's part of the pattern now.
Yeah, it's part of the pattern.
Hey, thanks so much for sticking around. That's the end of another fun episode. The Wheel Weaves is hosted and edited by Dani and Brett and produced by Dani and Brett with Passion Socks, Cody Feltz, Benjamin, Jamie Young, Megan, Jared Berg, Ricky Morissette, Adam, Mozyme, Michelle Forbes, MKM, Antoine Benoit, Lawrence Bradley, Colby T, Gabby Young, Rycat, Zane Sayaka, Matrix, Matt Truss, The Albatross, Bratimus Prime, Sarah Creech, and Saverio Bartolini. With music by Audionautics. Now, everyone, please be sure to go check out our Patreon page if you are interested in supporting us and the podcast. We'd love to send you some Patreon-exclusive merchandise as a thank you, plus you'll gain access to our episodes earlier than everyone else. And, at the time of recording, we have almost 50 bonus episodes for your listening pleasure. Find all that and more at patreon.com/thewheelweavespodcast. As always, please be sure to give us a 5-star review because it really does make a huge difference in helping other people find us. And be sure to tell a friend, Riyadh, because referrals really are the best compliment. For general information about our show, like how to send us shot glasses, how to join our Discord, and how to get in touch with us, visit thewheelweavespodcast.com. Thanks again for listening. This really is part of the pattern now.
Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you wanna get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather, now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply.